Manic and Chill is back, and it is Shane and I on Tuesday night, June 4th, 2024. We are going to get right into answering the hammers because, Shane, tonight, the second half of the show, or at least the last half hour, is going to be in our Discord, patreon.com/allgas to get the second half of the show in the Discord. We're literally going to go over there when we're done answering the hammers and the questions here. But, Shane, I was going to ask you how you were doing. But because you were having tech issues, you have lost the permission to be able to introduce yourself or talk to the people about how you're doing. So we're going to have to get right into the hammers. You ready?
Let's hammer it out, bro.
All right. First hammer. Someone. We have a 10-team start 8, 1 QB PPR league. We have Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Kyle Pitts, and Travis Kelce. Hurts plus which general bench? Okay, Hurts plus general bench. It was weird that he listed Hurts after everything else. It probably signifies how little it matters in a 1 QB. Although, Shane, does Jalen Hurts matter here? I think he does, right?
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, you definitely listed him in the wrong order here, but that's okay.
So, should we swap Zach Moss and Zamir White, which weren't even listed in a start 8, which shows you how little they probably matter, for Xavier Worthy and a future second?
Yes, I don't want to shortchange this answer, but 100% yes. Xavier Worthy could be anything. He could be a boat. That second holds more value to me than Zamir White or Zach Moss. But yes, Xavier Worthy and a second when you're getting them for running backs that you would never start unless there was an apocalypse in New York or Detroit. You make this deal immediately.
Well, someone gave us 3 hammers. I mean, it's a start 8, 1 QB. What else can we move here? Because it feels like Xavier Worthy then also becomes a player we can move for a first or more or in a package. I'm getting rid of. Do we really need Travis Kelce and Kyle Pitts? Do we really need Nick Chubb on this team?
We don't need Chubb. We don't need Kyle Pitts and Kelce. We don't need Garrett Wilson and Olave. That's about it. Because I want to keep Breece Gibbs, CMC. I like how he hides some of the players. Like he's hiding CMC after Chubb. We want Breece Gibbs, CMC, AJB, ARSB. Outside of that, and Hurts. Everybody else is a tradable asset. Absolutely, everybody else here could be traded for future firsts, for multiple firsts. Scott likes to talk about this. You can't just trade a bunch of these dudes for one other monster player because people aren't stupid. They're probably not going to let you do that. But what they will let you do is get future firsts from them.
Unless you're this someone, which apparently amassed every hammer in this league already.
Yeah, they might allow you to do that. But yeah, we can trade a lot of these extraneous pieces that we don't need. They're like having extra appendages. You don't need them. Just lop them off.
It speaks to the bias sometimes with names. You mentioned he did not mention or did not put Zach Moss or Zamir White in the original question, but listed Nick Chubb. Who would you rather have?
I'd rather have Zach Moss and Zamir White over Nick Chubb any day.
Correct. Yes. Correct. It's just interesting, the bias of I listed Nick Chubb, but Zach Moss was not good enough to list.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for the hammer. Someone will go ahead and hide that one. Shane, I'm going to need you to work the chat a little bit. If you see anything interesting, we will try to get to it, but we have a lot of hammers we got to get to, so I'm going to move on. Old friend Llama Jackson with a hammer. 1 QB, 10 teams, start 11 now. PPR, half-point tight end premium, 0.25 point per carry. We have Lamar, Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones, Trey Benson, Aaron Jones, Jalen Warren, Devin Singletary, Raheem Mostert, and Jerome Ford. That is a quite nice running back room for very little cost. I like it.
Yeah.
Marv, Tyreek, CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, JSN, Mike Evans, Trey McBride, and Kyle Pitts. It's something about these 1 QB leagues, Shane, where they just let teams amass like all the good players in one spot. But he wants to trade with the worst ranked Dynasty Daddy team. Shout out to Jeremy at Dynasty Daddy for Saquon, Devontae Adams, a first and a second for his Tyreek and Trey McBride. He does not want Devontae Adams or Tank. Is that Tank Dell? I don't know.
I don't care.
There was no Tank Dell listed.
Tank Bigsby, Tank McBride, Tank.
Okay.
Who was the UFC fighter? Tank. What was his name? Right, that guy. Tank.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't care what tank it is. No. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So this is only 2 of 3. So I kind of feel like we might be missing a part, but regardless if we are or not, we are trying to get the shittiest teams first and second. Do you like that deal?
Tank Abbott.
Tank Abbott.
Yes. Thank you, Graphic 13.
It sounds like the deal could be Tyreek and Trey McBride in a half-point tight end premium for Devontae Adams, Saquon Barkley, and the worst teams first and second.
So
I think that's a fair deal.
Devontae Adams for Tyreek McBride, and I'm getting the team's worst first. The worst teams first.
You're getting the first and second plus. Now it's a 1 QB, so the first and second are hit or miss. The first could be real good if it's a really bad team, but it's all for naught when he says the other team does not want to trade Devontae Adams. Sounds like they're all in. So if they're giving away Saquon, they're not giving away Devontae Adams. Do you even see a trade here?
I mean, I like that trade, but it's not going to happen. So, I mean, we don't even know what else is on the roster. So if they're not going to give you Devontae Adams, I like that deal. So do they have some other person that approximates Devontae Adams? Most likely not. Do they have someone else?
Okay. I'll give you Tyreek Hill and Jackson Smith and Jigba. You give me Devontae Adams in the first.
Yeah, I'll do that because I obviously don't particularly.
I knew that would appeal to you because you're giving JSN for a first, but you're also gambling that the difference between Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams is a high first, right?
Right.
You're not getting just any random first. You're getting a potential like top 2 or 3 pick. And clearly this manager knows what they're doing because they ended up with guys like Kyle Pitts and Marvin Harrison. You know what I mean? Like they've gotten some higher picks in the past with a good roster. So it's probably where we would head with this one. Try to work out a deal where getting that pick is the goal here. Whether you have to swap Tyreek Hill to Devontae Adams or trade from your excess like JSN, like I'm fine doing that if that's what it takes. All right. Next up, we got 4 hammers from Justin. 12-team PPR, 1 QB, start 7. A lot of 1 QB questions to start tonight's stream, Shane. Start 7. Can you regress to like a childlike state and get to start 7?
Scott,
can you wrap your head around that one?
Scott, I am in a childlike state most of the time. Just a fun story. Very quick, because I know we have hammers to get through. So I forgot this on my dating app. One of the questions it asks you is like, what meal could you eat all the time if you could eat a meal all the time? Like that's one of my profile questions. I must have put brownies. So someone actually responded to my dating profile today, and they said brownies are not a meal. So I swiped the other way. Anyway, good.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
you never know when you're going to get a Shane dating story in the middle of the stream. So let's get to it. Start 7. We got Watson. We got Gibbs, Spears, and Cans. Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, and Cans. And then Trey McBride and Luke Musgrave. Picks 101, 108, 201, 301, 325. Second activity low. So 1 QB, start 7. So 101 is probably the best asset on your roster besides Justin Jefferson. So you're just drafting Marvin Harrison. Do you have any? And no, not even get. And in a start 7, when you already have Gibbs, Wilson, Justin Jefferson, and Trey McBride, like you're kind of close. If you had Marvin Harrison, you're almost close to having like 7 hammers, right? Pretty close to it. Like one stud added to a team like this in a start 7 makes it very
4.
You're getting close.
If Garrett Wilson can take a step up, and we talked about this on the in the Discord, the patron Discord, where we'll be after this show immediately. Join the Discord, Dynasty Trades in 5. We talked about Garrett Wilson definitely has a path to that, so he definitely could be a hammer coming up this year. What's the next part of this question, though?
We got some trades.
Oh, okay.
Same person. You're getting Malik Neighbors effectively for Jahmyr Gibbs. Are you doing that?
No. Start 7. No. I have no impetus to do this deal. I already know what Gibbs is, and Gibbs is what we like to call a monster. So no.
Would you lean in a shallower league like this? Having a monster running back means more than if it was like a deeper league as well. Like that factors in. If it was a start 12 and you were trying to look to get rid of a running back, you would probably do Gibbs for Neighbors. But here, taking on the rookie receiver for a hammer running back is probably one that I would pass on. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
What about this next part? You're getting the 107, 109, and a 25 first projected mid for Gibbs. Pass on that?
I'm passing on this. I don't want, let's see. This is one quarterback, right? So 107, we're looking at.
Those are Brian Thomas and
Ladd McConkey
this year's class.
For Gibbs. No, thank you. And the 25 first, late first, mid first. Nah, blah. London, no. And a 301 for Gibbs, no. JSN, and a 109 for Gibbs. These are all no's, hard no's. If they would like to give me London, the 102, and a 25 first, and another 25 first, and a 103, then we can talk.
It says home league, first off season. So those who do not consume Dynasty content overvalue the draft picks. Usually it's the opposite, isn't it? New people don't value the draft picks, but here that 107 and that 109 are just, they should be able to get you a hammer. And apparently that's probably not a deal you want to do. So yeah.
No.
Holding on to Jahmyr Gibbs, you need what would you need to move Gibbs in a league this shallow, shy of Bijan and Breece Hall not coming to the table? Is there even a deal?
We could do the 102 and a chain. So there you go.
Ooh, okay.
But it's not going to it's one of those deals where it's not going to be what I'm going to need to get it done is too much, and it's insulting to the other owner, to the other manager. So it's unlikely to happen generally.
So there's about 6 players you would even consider, and you probably need to add to everything else, and it's just not going to happen, right?
AJ Brown in the 103. Right. Which is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? And I don't even think it's a fair trade. I don't want anyone to think that I think that's a fair trade.
Because if someone offered that to you, you would never pay.
Right. I would immediately go in our trades channel and throw up the trash trade, and we would all laugh and make fun of that person immediately and ask if something's wrong with me. For them sending me that offer. So I would immediately make fun of them. So no, I don't like any of those deals, but that's part of the problem in a league like that. To make a deal like that, I need to be completely bowled over.
It must be a new league if they're asking is something wrong with Shane. It's something obviously they do not know.
Not very new.
All right. Hammer from Brian. This is a big boy, 14 team Superflex. Start 10 PPR with a half point tight end premium. We have Anthony Richardson, Aaron Rodgers, Will Levis. Okay, we got 3 starters. Could be worse than a 14-teamer. Running backs are Tony Pollard, and that's it. Cans. DJ Moore and Cans. A lot of picks. Picks are fun. Unfortunately, it looks like we gambled on this class, and we ended up with the 110, 13, 14, 202, 207, 209, and 211. So the good news is, Shane, we do have the 102. But after that, we have 8 picks in this class. The bad news is none of them are in the top 9. And we only have 5 usable players. And that's counting all the quarterbacks, which you can only start 2 at a time. So what does he do in the draft first and foremost? And then what are we doing with those later picks? So we have the 102. Given this roster, are you going quarterback in a 14-teamer? What are you doing? Because you need assets.
It's a 14-teamer. You're almost obligated to go quarterback here. Like I every ounce of me wants to go Marvin Harrison. Every single last ounce of me wants to go Marvin Harrison. And every part of me knows that I will regret it within an hour and a half of doing so, because it is a 14-team Superflex. And trying to get a quarterback in those leagues is literally like pulling teeth. It is awful. Like, could you obviously you could get through next year with Rodgers and Levis, right? And could that turn out well for you? Sure. You know what I mean?
Levis can't win shit with this roster. So you're praying that they just don't die on you so that you can trade them next year. Like, what's the plan?
I mean, the hope is that Levis turns into a legitimate starter, right? A legitimate starter.
And Rodgers doesn't retire.
Right. Or at least one of them plays well enough to get you through another year. It's just,
what would you trade him for now? If he said, I really want to take Jaden Daniels because it is my one, it's hard to get elite picks in this league. I want Jaden Daniels. What would you move Rodgers and Levis for? Just straight up. Would you take a second for Rodgers, or would you want more?
It's a 14-teamer. I would just hold on to him. Not guarantee, but I bet you I could get a first come season time, come in season when someone needs.
So you're waiting to sell until like quarterbacks are actually throwing the ball.
Right.
Okay.
And Joe Montana, he says take Caleb. Yeah, if Caleb's available, take Caleb there. I'm sorry, he said MH. Yeah, because I'm assuming Caleb's going off the board at 101 because again, it's a 14-team Superflex.
Yeah,
so 102 is going down.
Caleb is definitely gone at 101, I would guess.
Yeah.
That was what we were already assuming. Real quick, what does he do with these later picks? Is this the kind of class where you just make them?
Yeah, you know what?
Players.
You need players, and here's where I'm just going to play the lotto. I'm going to take 15 shots at the lottery and hope that I hit 2 of them. You know.
So what are you drafting in a situation like this? I know we're belaboring this question, but what are you drafting in those mid rounds? Like, are you drafting running backs, receivers, BPA? Like, because I think it's important when you have this bad of a team. You need to know what your league would be willing to pay for down the road. Is it running backs? Is it Trey Benson if James Conner gets injured? Or is it Keon Coleman if he catches a touchdown? Do you know what I mean? So what will your league pay for?
So, yeah, well, I mean, he knows what his league will actually pay for, right? So I think you just got to go BPA, assuming that your league will pay for running backs. BPA will be at one of those spots. It's going to be Benson. It's going to be Corum. At 110, it might be Brooks, although at 110, I think it's probably going to be Penix, and you might be better served to just take Penix there, even though you went quarterback at 102. And then you're going to have 5 quarterbacks, and you're going to be in a position where you want to trade 4 of them come the season.
If I guaranteed you I could get Penix at 10, would you take Marv at 2? Or is Daniels that big of a gap?
No, I'm still taking Daniels.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Caleb. If for some reason Caleb falls there.
Yep. Thank you for the question, Brian. Appreciate it.
Hey, you want to hit? Oh, never mind.
No, we'll do this one, and then we can hit one from the chat. That's fine.
Okay.
Abu with a hammer, 12-team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 8. It's a fever going around these 1 QB questions, and I think that's 4 out of 5 we've done. Hurts, Geno, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Aaron Jones, James Conner, Jalen Warren, Justin Jefferson, AJB, Puka, Drake London, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, TJ Hawkinson, Jake Ferguson, his own first in 25 and 26, a mid-25 second. So again, a start 8. We have way too many things here, don't we, that we do not need. Would you give Drake London and get Tyreek Hill on this team to add A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, and Tyreek Hill in a start 8? That is...
Am I missing something? I was looking behind my computer to see if I was missing something.
Like, no, I think a lot of people would take Drake London over Tyreek Hill in Dynasty.
Oh, I mean, but a lot of people are stupid. I know a lot of people, and a lot of people are really, really stupid.
Well, here's the second part.
Oh, okay. Part 2.
Activity is low. He won the ship last year. Feels like he could win it again if he gets Tyreek. So when it's low activity, are you less likely to try to milk the value out of a guy like Drake London? If someone's willing to hand you a player that can give you 20 points per game, are you just taking it and not looking back? Because in some active leagues, it may be easier to sell Drake London. A low activity league, the week he pops off, no one may respond to the trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just take the bird in the hand here, just take Tyreek and move on.
Yeah. What's it about, a 7-year age discount? I appreciate that. I appreciate the age discount. I don't care. I'm taking Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Get younger somewhere else.
Yep. All right. Before I get this next one, what do you want to throw in from the chat?
Jalen Ramsey. Now, this is a loaded question because Jalen Ramsey does hate wide receivers. Keep that in mind. But he's got a strategy question. In a startup draft, is it a bad thing to draft too many wide receivers? I'm talking you can only start 4 of them, and 6 of your first 8 picks are wide receivers. Is there a point where it's too much?
No. And here's why. I'll sum this one up very quickly. The value in taking 6 is, guess what, Shane? You only take 6. Those are my 6. I don't mess around with taking this Luke McCaffrey in round 15 of the startup. You get your 6. Hopefully they're a nice blend. I assume if you're taking them that early, they're a nice blend of youth production. Maybe you get a Brandon Ayuk or a Chris Olave or a Michael Pittman. Like, they're not all Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You know what I mean? You can have maybe one of those guys, but I'm fine going 6 receivers in a row. You can start 4. You're going to have some times where there's bye weeks, where there's injuries. But the key here is, if you're going to do this, you don't go back to the receiver well. Guess what you don't do? Pick up receivers off waivers. You don't take your 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th receiver at the end of the startup. Take what you missed out on, right? Take backup quarterbacks, take running backs. Like, that's what you're focusing on. It's push and pull. You don't want to pull too far at receiver. But yes, you can get away with this. That's probably the way I would go, honestly. I only need to start 4 receivers. I'm only going to have 4. How often is that going to work, Shane? How many weeks in until you're feeling, man, I really wish I had a 5th? Like, week 2, you're going to be wondering if you wish you had another one. So
yeah, but it's like pornography. You know it when you see it, right? Which is a lot. There's a lot on my television. But anyway,
there's a lot on X these days.
Yeah. It's always hot hitting content, and then I click on it, and I'm like, hey. Anywho,
isn't it amazing that this is completely off the rails? But isn't it funny that you'll post a tweet within not even a second, there's a like, and you go, oh, Julie liked it. I'm like, I don't know anybody named Julie.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, that's just a bot. You know what I mean? But it's instantaneous. You hit post, and there's an alert. There's a like. Like, there's no way someone's eyes could have processed it that fast.
So, I mean, and what's one of the first things we attack with roster construction when we're looking at roster reviews? We go look at those extraneous, that's the word for the day, extraneous, when we do the Dynasty Trades of 5.
The receiver line. Who are the shitballs below that line?
Right. Stop drafting those dudes, especially then. Stop adding wide receivers at a certain point, and you should definitely know. Yeah, hot single women in your area, click now. Go ahead. Rock it out, bro.
3 hammers from Wolfman 23, 12 teams, Superflex start 10, PPR, CJ Stroud, Deshaun Watson, Gardner Minshew, and Drake May. You got Kenneth Walker and James Conner with some cans. Chase, Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, Calvin Ridley. Pretty good receiver core there. Mark Andrews. No picks, no depth. No 25 picks. Already had the draft, traded 101, took Marvin Harrison, or traded for 101, got Marv. Traded 106 for Garrett Wilson, and then traded for 108 and got Drake May. So pretty nice. Came out of this draft, had essentially Marv, Garrett Wilson, and Drake May added to this team, but there's nothing in the future, Shane. It's a start 10. I can squint and see where this team is good enough to contend, but it has no outs. It literally has... we got 5 receivers we can start there, plus Mark Andrews, plus 2 running backs we can start, plus Drake May, Gardner Minshew, and 2 starting quarterbacks, one being mid, shaky, and Watson. So there's 0 insurance here. What do you do? Split anything? You trying to split an asset here?
Sorry, let's just do math, because math is hard.
We split CJ Stroud?
I mean, we can. We don't have to. Here's the thing. So I get that there's no 25 picks, right? But guess what? That's not the last year on Earth, hopefully. Knock on wood. There's going to be a 2026. Just because you don't have 2025 picks literally does not mean it's the end of the world. I get that you can't make any moves to add to your roster next year, and that kind of sucks. It definitely does. But your team's not bad, right?
Is he competing? That is the question. I think he is competing.
Yes.
You have a bunch of guys in their prime. I mean, you're not if you're not competing, but you're holding James Conner and Calvin Ridley, you know what I mean? Like, we're off kilter here. But he was thinking the same thing as we were. Would you move Garrett Wilson for a Michael Pittman, Saquon Barkley passage? I would smash that.
Okay, well, that's different. Okay, because that's not tearing. Okay, that's not really tearing down. I mean, for what it's worth, Pittman has outperformed Garrett Wilson, and I know the ceiling for Wilson is higher than Pittman. But then you're also adding a running back one, even if it's a low end running back one that's not elite, is more back end running back one. But yes, I would do that. You're not really changing the long-term prospects of your roster if you do that. That's what I was more concerned about. Is like, don't change the long-term prospects of your roster just so that you have some flexibility in the short term, just because you don't have 25 picks.
So how apt are you to split a Jamar Chase here?
No.
You get the right deal. No.
Can I get AJ Brown in the 25 first? Can I, you know what I mean? Can I get AJ Brown in the 26 first? Can I get Puka Nacua in the 25 first, 26 first?
Okay.
Not both, obviously. Oh, well, I mean, obviously, if I could get both, sure, but I wouldn't expect to.
Wolfman, to answer your question, you are competing. I do think there's tier down options. He says it's a very active league, which is good. More people may play ball with the type of deal you want. I think the most important and the biggest takeaway is you got to get the kind of deal that helps you. It's got to be a 2-for-1 where you're literally getting 2 legitimate assets. You're not tearing down for another asset that is the equivalent of James Conner. You know what I mean? It's got to be something where I actually hold some concrete value in what I'm getting back. So thank you for the 3 hammers. Next one, Shane, we have Dirt Bag Wilson says 10-team Superflex start 9, made a few trades, but basically traded Joe Burrow, Bryce Young, and a second for Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, and a first. Okay, love that. Especially in a 10-team, getting basically swapping Burrow and Caleb. I can wash those. But then you're getting Rome Odunze and a first for Bryce Young and a second in a 10-teamer. That's a smash. Other QBs are Purdy and Stafford. Thoughts? I think that no other second part. I think you
win.
The first is better than Bryce Young, and Rome Odunze is better than the second.
Yeah, you've won, and I am proud of you, and that is awesome. And you should upgrade your name from Dirtbag Wilson. Like, you should be more confident and proud of yourself, and find a more prouder name than Dirtbag.
He did that manager dirty with that trade, so maybe that's what made him take on the name. So thank you for the hammer.
Absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent. I did have another start question. Let's see if I wanted to. Yeah, let's try this one from Andrew Rodon. Just like the artist, Rodon. Just a general question, but at what point in the offseason do you need to stop tinkering? I like my starters and my depth, but don't want to mess anything up before the season starts.
Well, if you get into underdog fantasy, you'll definitely stop tinkering because you just won't look at your teams for a couple weeks. So there's that. Give yourself something else to do during the summer, and you'll probably not tinker as much if you have a tinkering problem. But what do you think? I mean, I am so active in January to April. Like, the draft is the culmination of where I've already reworked everything that I want. And now basically I'm just waiting for new information, right? I'm just waiting for the rookies to have some sort of different value than they did a month ago. And then I'll start looking back in July and say, okay, is my roster construction where I want? Anything I can sell, anything I need to buy, etc. So I think the point in the offseason to stop tinkering literally is right now. Like, there's nothing going on. If you're making a trade today, it is out of sheer boredom. It is out of, I heard somebody on a podcast or a show say I should do this, and now I'm going to go try to do it. But I really don't want to do it. I'm just trying to get something done. I know you can relate to that, right?
So I'll say, when you know that a move you're making is probably suboptimal, when you know that this move is probably not a good process, or it's not even good, bad process, it's so wildly off process that there's no way you should be doing it. So I don't know if it was the patron or if it was on the YouTube show. I forget what it was. I think it was Sunday night. I don't know if it was yours and Ray's show. And we had a conversation in the YouTube chat. And the conversation in the chat led to talking about taking bets on players, right? And that's something that, for a long time is something that I really like doing. Like, I like taking risks on certain players. And I found that, I've been a little more cautious than I have been in the last couple of years. So I said, you know what? I'm talking a big game about a chain. I need to go get me a couple more shares. So I went to go get more chain in a couple leagues, but I didn't do it in a way that was clearly going to hurt my prospects. Like, I didn't go to leagues where I have Gibbs and go, all right, let me trade Gibbs for a chain. No, I went to leagues.
The old Shane would have gotten an idea and paid 130% to get what he wanted.
No. So what I did is go, where do I have Jordan Addison? Can I give Jordan Addison and a second for a chain? You know, so you have to stop yourself from going, yes, can I overpay to make a deal to get a player on my roster? Yes, I can. But you have to stop yourself from doing that. So all that to say, if you know it's suboptimal, don't do it. And you should know it's suboptimal. If you know you are overpaying just to get a player on your roster, don't do that.
Very sound advice. Yeah. If you feel like I'm doing something to do something, that's usually what stops me. Why am I sending this offer? Sometimes I'll send an offer just because somebody put the player on the trade block. I don't even want that player, but I know that person will respond in 15 minutes and they'll give me that dopamine hit where like we're going back and forth on a trade. But I don't even want Aaron Jones. Why am I trying to trade for him right now? Just because I know that manager is sitting by his phone and wants to respond to a trade. So have some discipline. 2 hammers from Casablanco, 10-team, 2QB, PPR, start 9. We got Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. That's a good way to start. Danny Dimes and Cans, Saquon, Etienne, Eckler, Montgomery, Warren, A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Chris Olave, Amari Cooper, JSN, Cole Kmet, Pat Freiermuth, Darren Waller. We're still listing Darren Waller as an asset. We have the 103, 4, 5, 9, 201, and year 3 back-to-back second place. He's got a question. So remember, 10-team, 2QB, start 9. So pretty shallow, but 2 QBs. Trade up for Marvin Harrison Jr. Give up the 104 and the 202 for Marv. Yes or no? That's easy.
Yeah, especially considering the next option.
Yeah, I mean, or you're giving up the 105 for Mark Andrews and a 26 second.
Oh, wait. That's
or 20. No, they're separate deals.
Okay, yeah. Yes, 104 and 202 for Marvin Harrison. Absolutely, yes. Smash-a-lutely.
Yeah, and I'd even do the 103 because it's a 10-teamer. And you have Mahomes and Hurts. Like, I'm looking to add not necessarily, it is 2 QB, so I can see where that pick has value if a team needs a quarterback for sure. Yeah. So you're in a good spot. But yeah, I'd be willing to do that. So our tight ends here, Shane, are not really great. They're just bodies. They're producers, but not sexy options. Pat Freiermuth and Cole Kmet. I'm not even counting Darren Waller until he intends to play or not. But would you give up the 105, which here is probably Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Roma Dunze, one of those guys, for Mark Andrews and a 26 first? I mean, it's not a tight end premium. It's only a start 9, but we're currently starting basically replacement value at tight end. And we're getting a first, though. Yeah. I feel like the positional advantage is worth it here to get Andrews because you're also getting the first on top, which you can just mess around with later, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I'm pausing. And the problem is I'm assuming we can't wait till we're on the clock for this deal because if it's Neighbors, well, I'll just stay. Let me draft Neighbors. And if it's a Dunze, I like a Dunze, I'll go, all right, I'm out. I like a Dunze, but I'll take Andrews in the 26th.
So you'd still take Neighbors over Mark Andrews and the 105 and the future first.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh man, I don't know. I'll take the first deal. Although I have to give an answer, right? They paid for a hammer, so I guess I can't be non-committal.
2 hammers.
Oh, so I have to answer twice. All right, so I'll definitely take that Marvin Harrison deal. Give me Andrews in the first. Take the positional advantage. You get another first.
Trade Warren, JSN, Saquon, Eagles fan league. So I don't know which one he's referring to here. Is that to get Marv or is that to get the Andrews and the 26th?
Trade Warren and JSN to get Saquon?
Warren, JSN, Saquon. No, because he has Saquon. And he has Warren. And he has JSN. So I don't know where that question is going, and that's the last part. So okay, just move on. Because
if we could trade that package for Marvin Harrison, yes. If we could trade that package for Andrews, yes. Maybe. Okay. Nope. Saquon. Not for no.
No, he has Saquon.
I don't know.
And it's not Casablanco's problem. It's whoever input the question. Probably is
Casablanco. DM me if you're watching this so you can just explain that last part. Or if you're on Discord, shoot me a message, preferably Discord, because I like being in there better than Twitter because Twitter is kind of a cesspool. But if you're on Twitter, go ahead and just DM me if Discord, same on Discord, so you can explain that last part to us.
Yep, for sure. Appreciate the hammers. Okay, so Blanco, Alex P, old friend Alex P, 12-team Superflex, PPR, half-point tight end premium, start 9. We have Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, and then trash, but that's pretty good trio there. Then we have Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Jordan Addison, Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave, Pat Fryermuth, and Tucker Kraft. A lot of Packers on this team. 102, 108, 107, or 107, 108, 111, 202, 203, 2 firsts next year, 3 seconds next year. So back to the original 12-team, half PPR, Superflex starting 9, Shane. Are you giving up the 107 and the 108 for Malik Neighbors? Not even close?
I'm not even stopping to think about that. I'm just running that red light immediately.
And especially because you already have Burrow, Hurts, and Love. Like you just taking Neighbors over even Jaden Daniels in that case. 2 of 2. Activity is high. Been retooling for a couple years. Wondering if you have any other ideas on how to get this roster in a position to compete. I mean, you add Malik Neighbors to this roster, Shane. It's not full of studs, but I mean, between Neighbors, London, Waddle, Addison, Reed, you can get by with those tight ends. I mean, we have these draft picks too. So, I mean, it's not like we're also getting something at the 202. Hopefully Marvin Harrison. We're also having these other picks that we can use. I mean, this team's a contender already. Just may not look like it because a lot of our value is put in picks right now. But this is a contender.
I mean, you're adding Marvin Harrison. I'm sorry, you're adding 102. Yeah, he's drafting.
You're getting Neighbors and Marv. Hopefully.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good duo to be adding to your roster. You'll be all right.
Hell, what are we doing with those later picks, right? We're probably trading. We want out of those picks in a start 9, like the 111, 202, 203. Like, give me future picks. You have a good enough team that at least gives you a live shot to compete.
Well, and I mean, he didn't list any running backs, right?
Then you know what? Maybe you try to trade one for a running back. Get one anchor, and it doesn't have to be a
sexy
Joe
Mixon.
It can be
Derrick Henry,
a 1-year mercenary, and just plug them in and just take your chances with your roster construction with the other RB spots, and maybe draft one running back with one of those seconds. But I'd be willing to trade that 10 or 111 and either the 202 or 203 for future picks, just because I don't need to make those in a start 9. So thank you for the question, Alex. All right, next up, we got a hammer from Press the Cot. 12-team, start 10, Superflex PPR. Josh Allen, T-Law backups. Antonio Gibson and J.K. Dobbins. We're living in 4 years ago with that. Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, Marquise Brown, Darnell Mooney, and Treylon Burks, which apparently is an asset still. See the comments today from Brian Callahan about Treylon Burks?
Not great. So,
and listen, he's to earn his keep on special teams.
And I just want people to, again, take a look at when rookie wide receivers do not have good seasons, regardless of the draft capital. Even early round, but even when they're early round wide receivers, if they do not have good rookie seasons, get the hell away from them. They are bad. The outcomes for them in the future are absolutely trash-tastic. It's terrible. Treylon Burks is an after-school special, all right? That's all. Good.
I've cut him in a couple leagues and just watched as other people use waiver dollars to pick him up, and I'm just glad he's not on my team, because every time I see his name, I would be going, who will take him? And the answer is nobody would trade for him. Yeah. So you might as well just let the dream die.
And then, Matt Jones. Sure, real quick. Matt Jones. Okay, pick an outlier. I'm telling you, look at the statistics. You pick one outlier.
Well,
I've done this repeatedly.
Here's the thing, Shane.
Good.
A first-round receiver. There's a difference, right? A first-round receiver, guess what they're expected to do? Play and start right away. Nico Collins was a third-round pick. I'm not saying that there's a difference outside of the fact they're drafted in different ranges. But if you're a first-rounder, if you're a guy that was drafted in the top 15, the team's plan isn't to just never play you, right? And if it's, well, that guy's struggling to get first-team reps and he's behind, I don't know, how worried are you going to be if Ricky Pearsall is behind Jawan Jennings and Jacob Cowie? A little worried, right?
I'd
like
be a little concerned. Yes,
he doesn't need to start, but
right.
You don't want to be like, yeah, he's fighting to be a game day active starter. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's a level to those things. So
yeah. So and Matt, sorry, I get very defensive. I just don't want people thinking outliers are the norms. There's always going to be outliers. And the reason they stick out in your head is because they're outliers. You're going to remember outliers because they stick out. You're not going to remember the 15 failures because you forget about the failures. Their names disappear from you. Anyway, Prescott, I'm sorry. We've been rambling on.
Well, there's the team. There's the team. He has the
Yes.
101. It's a team that could use some work, right?
Yes.
When we're listing Darnell Mooney and Treylon Burks, it could use some work.
A little bit.
He has an offer of an inbox offer. He would give up the 106 and Hollywood Brown. He would get back Devontae Smith in the 201. I'm not doing that deal.
No.
I would rather have the 106 over Devontae Smith, and I would Hollywood Brown in the 201. That's fair. You know, like I think a lot of people would take the pick, but that's closer than the 106 for Devontae Smith. I'm passing that. I'm taking. You taking Marvin Harrison at 101 with the team that has T-Law and Josh Allen and lacks everything else?
It's low activity.
Yes.
The problem is it's low activity, and it doesn't seem like he'll ever be able to trade a quarterback because he's apparently been trying to move the 101, and no one will come and get it.
Unable to trade back, yes.
Right. And it's got I don't want to say generational, a very good quarterback in Caleb Williams.
He says mid activity, but that's a very good point. If you can't even move the 101.
Yeah. In this class.
And the only other thing I would say is, have you tried to move Trevor Lawrence? And if you can move him for close to what you can move the 101 for some reason, then do that and take Caleb. But if it's a league where you're not confident that moves will get made, don't draft yourself into, okay, 2 weeks later, he asked us the question, Shane, I have T-Law, Allen, and Caleb, and no one will trade with me. You know, you're just drafting yourself into a problem down the road.
Right. I mean, you could look to move Allen, but again, that's same story. I don't know if you're going to get the package you want, but
if you're going to draft to excess like that, just have a plan with it. Understand your league, understand your economy. Is it better off drafting a quarterback for the trade? And in this league, it doesn't seem like it is. So thank you for the hammers. Another one from someone, 12-team or 10-team Superflex, 4-point per passing touchdown, PPR start 11. So 10-team start 11, Burrow, Kyler, Cousins. Man, look at that receiver core, Shane. How excited did you get when you saw JJ, CD, and Neighbors? Ooh.
Dude, Ayuk is your wide receiver 4. That's pretty good. You have Amari Cooper as a wide receiver 5.
Yeah, and I like Christian Watson as your 6. Like, you don't need Jalen Polk. You could probably move Jalen Polk or Christian Watson, but let's finish the question. We have Bijan, James Conner, Trey Benson, Dallas Goedert, Hunter Henry. We have 2 extra firsts, 1 in 25 and 1 in 26. That extra first are from a bottom 3 team. So we are sitting on 2 pretty valuable future picks in this person's estimation. Mid activity, move some of my future value to strengthen my lineup or just sit on it. Move my own first in this situation instead, knowing those other picks are from a worse team. So here's the roster. You have 2 sets of picks. I don't mind the idea of betting on your own team and moving your own first and just kind of supplementing what you can get here and sitting on those future firsts that are high.
Yeah, I'm not.
I mean, this is already a good enough team to win as is. So I don't think we need to rush.
That's what I was going to say. Like, okay, improve your roster where you're running back. I guess you're running back 2 if you were being pedantic. Sure, your tight end. Again, if you're being a douche and you just want to absolutely mash people, yes, you could improve that there, but you don't need to. No, I'm not moving any of the bottom 3 teams' picks. If I'm going to trade a pick, it's going to be mine, but unlikely that I'm going to be falling over myself to actually move someone's pick.
It needs to be a upgrade to your lineup, not a dynasty upgrade, but an upgrade. Meaning if you're looking at the player you're getting and saying, I don't know if they're much better than Amari Cooper, don't trade a first for him, even if it's your own pick. Because I could see a story where this team doesn't just coast to the championship either, Shane. It has some holes. You know, it's an injury to a quarterback away from maybe being a little shaky. I mean, it's just be smart about the deals when you move your picks. You're not in a rush. This team can take the field and be a playoff contender without making anything change right now.
let me add one from the crowd here.
Let it rip.
As soon as I figure out how to use the computer here. Here's a fun one. What's up with so many people adding firsts to Daniel to go get A-Rich?
Who's doing that?
Yeah. Am I crazy to think Daniels could be just as good as A-Rich, if not better?
Not at all.
Adding it first is insane to me. Yes, that would be absolutely bonkers. Don't do that. That is absolutely insanity incarnate. So no, I would not do that. There was another one I just wanted to hit because it was a strategy one. Ethan 22 in any QB strategy worth it in his league. If the only backup quarterbacks moved last year was Dobbs for 2/4 last year. He had a bunch of QBs last year and couldn't sell any. It's a 12/9 Superflex, 4-point passing touchdowns.
So the answer is yes, but the answer is not necessarily to move them. It is truly to just kind of protect yourself from needing to carry any value at quarterback aside from your starters. So that's the long and short answer is if you can't trade them, they're still better to roster than a random receiver unless you have a path where you can trade the receiver. Same with the running back. Why do you carry a running back on a 53? It's not to sell for a profit. It's, do I ever need to use them randomly? And that's what I would do at quarterback. In turn, if you're going to play that strategy and there's no trade market, just don't carry a QB3. Legit. If you have Baker Mayfield, trade him. If you have Derek Carr, trade him. Geno Smith, they're no different than the replacement value guys. But one holds value and one has no value because your league clearly doesn't value them. So hopefully that answers the question. But yes, there's still viability to carry the any quarterbacks on the 53, just like the any running backs on the 53. I got another hammer from AP. Is there something weird with how these are being asked, Shane? We have like the Superflex before the starters, but then the 12 team is in there, or it's a Superflex 10 team start
Superflex
12.
10 team start 12.
It's just PPR. It's weird. It's weird how it's ordered. But anyway, we'll go with 10 team start 12, 0.75 tight end premium. Took over a trash can orphan before last season, sold everything. All we have now is Brock Purdy, Jerome Ford, Tank Bigsby, Kendre Miller, Cole Kmet, and Michael Mayer, not spelled correctly. Sold the 101 and the 102 and the 110 recently. Now, okay, no, sold the 101 and 102 and 110 recently. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, now he has the 102, 107, 108, 109, 110, 201, 207. Okay, commas are a problem here. 425 firsts, 3 seconds, 226 firsts, 2 seconds. 101 is taking Marvin Harrison. Should I go Caleb at 2? What the hell do I do after that? Y'all are the best. So there's a lot to unpack. It's only a one hammer question. We could go for 15 minutes on this. This would definitely be a candidate for a roster review, Shane. Roster review at dynastytrades5.com. But like, what would you do? This team has nothing. I mean, literally, we're listing Jerome Ford and Tank Bigsby.
So there's a couple different ways you could go, and I would say, yeah, you might want to look into a roster review for this one so we could split out multiple things, right? But you might want to split the baby at 102. Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing if I could move that back, because then is there a way I could try to get J.J. McCarthy or Drake May out of this draft and another pick and another first, and then go J.J. McCarthy, for example, and Michael Penix, and then another first instead of Caleb and Michael Penix. Just get another first. And then obviously you're going to be making some of these picks. You already have 425 first, but you know what? Why don't we add 2 more? Your team's bad. 8, 9, 10, those aren't going to be picks that probably turn your team around. So if I can keep getting more picks, sure, because this isn't going to be a 1-year rebuild. You already know that because you've already moved picks into 2026. So you've kind of already know what the F to do because you've already started doing it. You've already started buying picks in 25 and 26. Good thing about that, though, is if you do start adding, or some of your players from this draft start hitting in 25, and some of the players you draft in 25 hit a little earlier, then you're going to have picks in 26 that you can move in 25 so that you can speed up your rebuild. So you've already started the process a little bit.
Yeah, I think you just play every pick. You maximize the value of every pick. You're multiple years away. You just got to kind of continue to grow the bank account. At some point, you're going to start picking players and saying, I'm moving towards contending, but you're very far away from that. So slow play every pick. Always be willing to trade back. Always be willing to accumulate future capital like you've already done. So thank you for the question, AP. Next up, Shane, we got 3 hammers from Don't Matter 07, 12-team Superflex PPR. 1.5 tight end premium, start 11. We have Dak and Josh Allen, Ramondre Stevenson, James Conner, Aaron Jones, probably, Puka Nacua, Jalen Waddle, Brandon Ayuk, Jordan Addison, Christian Watson, and Jacoby Myers. Tucker Kraft is our starting tight end. We have the 105 and the 307, no other picks. Second in points, finished 5th place. Thinking of downgrading from Allen. So this is a start 11, Shane, but the lineup is extremely thin. We're starting guys like Jacoby Myers, Christian Watson. We don't have a tight end. We do have the 105, which is good. That's probably a Dunze, maybe a quarterback. I mean, it's a good pick.
Yeah.
But it's just adding one player if we make that pick. So I'm just going to get to this part because you already got a trade thought up, so we don't have to do the heavy work here. Thoughts on sending this trade out? Josh Allen, Ramondre Stevenson in the 307. I'm getting back Trevor Lawrence, Jonathan Taylor, and the 104. I think I'm doing that.
Yes.
That's you're getting back Malik Neighbors, Jonathan Taylor, and Trevor Lawrence for Josh Allen. And I'm giving away Ramondre, but that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Plan on taking Brock Bowers or Rome with the 105. No tight end premium. I'm going to Dunze when my best 4th receiver is Jordan Addison. I could definitely use another shot at getting a guy better than that in a start 11.
Well, and also we think Rome is going to be all right. We think both those players are going to be really good. So that's really neither here nor there. And then I would probably
do you take Bowers? You don't have a tight end. You're starting Tucker Kraft.
I would not be opposed to taking Bowers there.
Okay.
I would not be opposed to taking Bowers there. We definitely think he's a positional advantage, right? So if you wanted to take Bowers there, I'd be fine. If you wanted to take Bowers, knowing that you could probably get him even a pick later, I might talk to the dude at 106 and see if he wants to move up, or the lady at 106 and see if they want to move up and get a Dunze, or if they want to move up and get a quarterback. I talked to the people behind me just to see what they wanted to do. But neither
here nor there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other things you could do with this team, just giving my take on it, you have some pieces that are in the dead zone of production, like a guy like Jacoby Myers. You may think you need to start him, but the reality is you can probably pick up somebody for even cheaper, for free, that could give you basically what he's going to give you. Christian Watson, like I'm willing to sell 1 or 2 pieces to give myself a little bit of future flexibility, because what's going to determine whether this team wins or not is Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Puka, Waddle, like whether my running backs are what I think they could be with Ramondre and Connor. You know what I mean? If you don't make the Allen trade, the team's probably in the middle, but the things you're trading away are probably not determining whether you win or not. So be willing to trade those away when you have a roster like this. So good question. Thank you for the 3 hammers. Shane, we're done with that folder. I'm going to jump into the next folder real quick. Just do a couple more here. We got 3-parter from Charles Pettigrew. And speaking of Charles, I do want to hit that Charles Chill question here in the chat a minute ago. I'll share that with everybody. 10-team Superflex PPR start 12. So another 10-team start 12. We do 12-team start 10, start 11, start 12 a lot. We've seen a lot of 10-team start 12. At least if you're going to do a 10-team or make it at least 12 starters. Makes it a little more legitimate, I think. Stroud, Caleb, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, Nick Chubb, Marshawn Lloyd, and Cans. Rough running back room there. But we do have Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. That's nice. JSN, Flowers, Brock Bowers, and a mid-first. Want to compete, make this a dynasty. Thoughts on what I should do? Very simple, Shane. We got a shit ton of good receivers. We have 4 starting quarterbacks. I believe with all of those quarterbacks, we have no, we don't have a stack with all 4. But nonetheless, we have 4 quarterbacks, 4 of the top, 8 receivers in Dynasty? 6 receivers in Dynasty, depending on where you have Garrett Wilson?
Well, I mean, let's see, Chase, Lamb, and Marvin Harrison.
3 of the top 5.
3 of the top 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Garrett Wilson, top 8. So plus JSN and Zay Flowers, and then Brock Bowers as our starting tight end and a mid-25 first. What would you do here besides sell JSN for something better? You need a run. This team needs a running back. You can't probably start either of your running backs day one.
Well, no. So besides the whole selling JSN thing for something better, it's not just that. So he wants to extend this dynasty. JSN and Flowers are superfluous. I don't need them for this roster, right? What I do need is future flexibility. Because say something does happen to Chase Lamb, Wilson, whatever, probably not. But I would like future picks so that I could do something if I wanted to in the future. I could add a running back. I think I would look to investigate. Now, can I trade those for a running back? I don't know, maybe. But what type of running back do you think I'm getting for JSN? What type of running back do you think I'm getting for Flowers?
Here's the problem: those guys are worth a late first. I think the running back you're going to have to get is a guy you're not going to value as a late first. But if you can get 2 years of just, I can set and start them, and as long as they're healthy, they're going to produce, then I'm fine with it. Like, do I really want to trade JSN for a Derrick Henry or Joe Mixon type? No. But can I get one of those guys in a second? And the only thing I care about is as long as those guys are playing, they're probably going to score. Now, they're not going to be studs. They're not going to finish in the top 5, but they're probably going to finish in the top 12. Top 15, as long as they're still what they've been.
Yeah, if I can do that,
something like that.
Yeah, I'd love something like that. And then I also add a pick to my arsenal, which is perfect because again, if I need a running back in season, something else happens.
With the second, the exactly. Running back that's getting starts, right? Perfect.
Right.
Yep, love it. Thank you, Charles, for the question. All right, we're going to do one more. Then I want to hit a couple comments from the chat. Then we're moving over to the Discord here in a couple minutes. I saw this one from Vapad Shane. He says, oof, if I DM you guys, can I get it answered after the show? Bro, you're in the Discord. Just come to the next part of the show.
So, in case you haven't caught on, 9:30, Scott, myself, we go to where our patrons are, the Dynasty Trades in 5 AMA in our Discord for our patrons. We will be going from 9:30 to 10:30. That's where we will be. I don't know where the rest of you will be, but that's where we will be and our patrons. So if you're not a patron, hit up somewhere. See, I'm good at the pitching, not really good at the technical telling you where to go. So Scott,
that's okay. That's okay. And we are going to, so normally we do a Thursday night AMA in the Discord. That's where we are on Thursday nights. We're doing basically another Trades in 5 episode in the Discord. We're not going to be doing that anymore over the summer. We're going to do the second part of that Tuesday nights. But Shane and I are actually going to do another video version of Manic and Chill. We'll put that out later this week. Maybe we'll do it live. I don't know. But we're going to do another one. We need to catch up on some of these hammers. We get a lot of people that ask us, hey, I submitted a hammer last week. I haven't gotten to it yet. I have right now in this folder 30 hammers that we need to get to. So we'll do another Manic and Chill later on in the week. We will put it out so everybody, even if you're not a patron, everyone will get it on the feed. I know Clay's in here, so hopefully Clay is cool with that because we did not run that by Clay. Shane and I decided it 3 minutes ago in the chat. Hey, Shane, you want to do another Manic and Chill this week just because I miss talking to you so much? But yes, we are going to do that. But final things. I did want to cover this one, Shane, just because we got the question. The Destination Chill story about Charles Chill. Do you even know that story? Do you even know how I was nicknamed Charles Chill?
I believe so, but tell it anyway.
Which means you probably forget or don't know. No, it's literally my middle name is Charles, so that is not at all like a shock that people called me that when I was younger. And then in high school, believe it or not, I was the most chill person. Didn't like to talk. And I've done a 180 because I love to talk now. But back then, I never talked. And I would just kind of just be the one that sits there and just chills. So I got the nickname Charles Chill. And when I started my Twitter handle in 2014, that's what I put down. And it's just been that ever since. Never changed it. Made it FFB because I started it for fantasy football and then never changed it. So I probably could upgrade it, but it's almost 10 years old. So that's it. Nothing more to the story. No super exciting backstory. Just literally my middle name plus my high school nickname and a Twitter handle. So thank you for the question. That's it, Shane. We're going over to the Discord. We'll get that started in 5 minutes. Anybody that hasn't joined, patreon.com/allgas. Join the Dynasty Trades in 5 tier. You get access to our Discord where we have our stages. You also get a bonus pod feed where we do other content and put it out on the pod in case you miss it. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. It was good. Just a wrap with Shane. We got through a lot of hammers. We didn't really get to sit back and go back and forth on strategy. So that's why we're going to do a second show where we hit some more hammers and maybe talk a little bit more analysis. So thank you. We're heading over to the Discord. Shane, say good night.
Good night.